afternoon, everybody. We are looking for some trades this afternoon. See what the numbers bring. Definitely been in some consolidation since our little push up there off the 200. And just waiting to see what the market's going to do with the numbers. Don't expect to be trading for about another hour. We're going to wait till after the numbers come out. But I figured we'd come on in and see what the market's doing while we're waiting for it. Give me just a minute, guys. I'll be right back. Alright, so let's see. Oh, there we go. Turn the volume up a little bit. Now that we're on the right mic. Okay. Yeah, we had a really good push. When did that happen? Right off the open. And I was not on the computer this morning because I had a couple things to do. Plus, uh, wasn't expecting a whole lot out of the market, to tell you the truth. But I guess in anticipation of higher prices, if the Fed drops the rates, we did jump about 300 points there, close to. So we missed a couple of trades this morning. That's all right. We did take a little short trade up here because we just kept pushing back towards the 21. So when we broke through the top of the range, we got this red candle. We just took a little short trade there. Not much, one contract, made $100. Uh, and that's pretty much all we're looking for right now. We haven't quite made it down to this pivot point down here to see if we reject to head back higher from the bottom of the range. If we do, we might grab a contract here long at this pivot point and see if we just kind of stay in this range and can get a contract to run back up for us. We've got 1 hour until the Fed rate decision comes out. So I'm just sitting here listening to a little music. The winds of change. Oh, let's see if we can get that piece in here. the window, but it's not showing anything. Hmm. That's the 30-second chart. That is the entire thing, but not showing anything. Oh, wait a minute. Windows. There we go. So let's do control center. Aha. Okay. Now we got what we're looking for. Oh, let's see. Hmm. Trying to get all the numbers in there that I'm looking to get. For some reason, it's not quite working the way I want it to. Um, well, we can do it this way. Let's just see how that looks. Oh, okay, that'll work. All right. So this way you guys can see my trailing drawdown, the account balance, and the P&L for the day. Um, yeah, this is my Apex 150K evaluation. We are in some drawdown here, which is why when I get a chance to take, just a little short trade, um, and grab 100, 200 bucks here and there, I definitely want to give it a shot because, you know, we want to we want to get a little bit of that drawdown back. We've used about half of it, at 5,000 in drawdown, uh, but that's okay. We've been doing some kind of live testing on this account. So that's kind of why we have a bit of a drawdown problem there. But we still have plenty of drawdown left to not worry too much about it. Um, Looks like we've come through a couple of pivot points here. I'm going to go ahead, let me go ahead and put up my um, trading view charts as well. I'm just going to throw this up a minute so I can work on my other window for just a second. Let's see, window capture. Okay. Let's see, trading view. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Oh, why is that window all the way out? And I can't drag it. Let's see, let's put it down. Hmm. Oh, never mind. I know why that's doing that. I think I know. No. Hmm. Oh, let's see. It's still gonna put it there. What the hell? Oh, hey, look, there it is. Okay. What the hell? Got rotated. Let's see if we can fix that. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Cancel. All right. Let's go over here. Let's try that again. found it and we pulled it. I thought, copy, paste. No, that didn't work. I'll leave that there. Copy. Paste reference. Hmm. Nothing. No. Yes. Yes. Remove. Yes. Hmm. Ah, there it is. Okay. Now we got you. Now we got you. Okay. Perfect. There we go. All right. So what you can see here is we have our 30-second chart on NinjaTrader. We have our 5-minute chart. Uh, Now this is using the Riptide uh, indicator. Um, I'm probably going to put the Riptide indicators here as well. Um, Maybe not. We'll see. I'm looking for a specific way to set it up where I can still keep my colored candles on just down candles and up candles instead of trend candles. Um, because I need to see like the color change off of this pivot point was a good place to take a long. Um, but we'll see. Um, but we have the 5 minute chart with our pivot points and our SMA indicators. And then I have my trading view charts up as well because I have my Tradify account over here, um, and we're trading our Apex account over on NinjaTrader. So I don't mind. I'm not worried about the account number showing up here. For one, it's an evaluation. Number two, if you can figure out my password to sign into Tradevate, more power to you. Okay. Um, finish up my little protein shake here. So we are about $400 in drawdown over here. I tried to take a few trades here for break of range, um, the top side and downside, and just didn't get it. Um, so we lost two trades, $200 each. Uh, we were in drawdown yesterday. We brought it back up. Uh, brought it back up to 50,000, but we've dropped a little bit more this morning or during the lunch hour. So no worries there either. We still got plenty of room. $1,400 over here. And the strategy I'm using has been showing, uh, very good drawdown numbers. Um, so we're not too worried about that. All right. So since we're getting pretty close, um, I am going to go ahead and get our strategy plugged in here. Okay. And then we'll need to come down here and turn those on. Okay. Uh, okay. So if I am correct in my thinking here, um, you should see. Let's just take a quick peek. Yes. So you see the strategy placed here. Okay. So you will see my position picked up. Um, you may not see. Hmm, work on that. Let's see if we can't get that. Okay, there we go. Um, so when I do get into a position here, you will see the results of that. Um, and again, you see these are my apex evals, so that'll work. Uh, okay, so we're all set there. So the strategy is pretty simple. I'm looking for 5-minute trends to jump in on for some quick scalps. But I do put on a pretty large size. Now in the trading view on my Tradify account, I'm using a little bit different strategy. I am looking for the 5-minute trends, um, but I am looking for those, uh, looking for pullbacks to the moving averages and then trading back into the direction of the trend. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, everybody, and I will be right back. Now, I may have to jump into a trade while he's here, so do you want to put her in the bedroom? Because I'm not going to be paying a lot of attention to her. Okay. The Fed's going to make the decision whether to cut rates today or not, so the market's going to move. He didn't apply for the tag. He was waiting for us to pay the balance, but he never told us that. So he he'll apply for the tag now, but then he didn't want to give me another temporary because they fined him if he does a second temporary because they know that that means he didn't apply for the tag when he applied for the temporary. And he said if I get pulled over, just let me know. I'm waiting on the tag. Temporary. But here's my bill of sale. And you do it on a tag. I'll tell the cop right now, look, I asked him for another temporary tag and he refused to give me one. Don't give anybody a ticket. Go drive up there. So I did. I did. It was him that called that answered the phone. No, he didn't. He didn't. I said the tag was there. He said, no, it hasn't come in yet. I said, okay, we'll be up in a few days to pay for the rest of the car. I thought he had, that's what I told him when I went in there. I thought you applied for the tag when we gave you the first payment. Like we were waiting to just make, we were waiting just to make one trip to pay the balance and pick up the tag. No, phone number, I could have just taken off with the damn car and sold it, you know, no time. You would think, yeah. I mean, you think you really want to make sure you got somebody's phone number in case they don't show up to pay the balance. You can give them a phone call. Hey, you're in my way. Coming over here underneath his normal picture, probably. Okay, down. So yeah, All right, everybody. About 15 minutes away from the numbers. So we've jumped into a short on crude oil here. We got a clearing bar that cleared the bottom of this consolidation range in a narrow state. So we're risking just above that 5-minute bar. Let's see if we can't go down and rebalance this fair value gap back to the previous 4-hour midline. Hmm. No. kind of hit the midline at the New York Open. So we did move down from the Open. 'We're gonna try that again. I know that was a big pullback to keep us above the 200. Yeah, shit. There it is. Yeah, let's give it a little bit more space. 9 minutes away from the numbers. We are holding this support level here. 5 minutes away from the number. We're going to go ahead and close that position on crude for a loss. Hmm. So you don't think there's anticipation of the market screaming higher? Oh, so he ain't the only one. Should have taken a long off that support area. Off that pivot point would have been nice. One minute to go. Turn longs on here. Nope, I cut rates. All right. One small step in the right direction. And we are not gotten a signal here. We're just now getting the signal. So we are going to be going long here. It is a little dangerous. I mean, we could pull back a good amount here. I like the fact that price has fallen before we get into the trade. Okay, there's our trade. We hit our first target. Hmm. See if we can't go up and break it just a little bit more. All right, I took a shot. We made another $190 there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close this trade as well. That puts us at a profit, $450 profit on the Tradify account, and $290 profit on $275 profit on the Apex account. That's a good deal. I mean, it's not a lot, but $450 on the Tradify account is pretty big considering we were down $500. So we made $1,000 on that trade. Um, you know, we didn't put on as much uh, here, and I don't know why it didn't go to break even once we hit our trailing type break even 10 ticks. May have just been the amount of volume that was being traded in the market. When we entered, but it should have gone to break even. I'm not exactly sure why that didn't, but no big deal. We made 190. Usually it locks in $200 there, but losing the $10, I'm okay with that. And now the fact that we've moved so much on the day, I just don't know, how much further is it going to go, right? Um, because from the open, 160.30 was today's open. Yeah, we moved 473 points. Yeah, we could move a little bit higher. Um, I mean, we could move 600 points on today's news for sure, which is why I'm leaving longs on here. See if we can't get another signal to go a little bit higher. We did hold uh, this pivot point so far. I certainly think we should stay above previous week's high, uh, since that is good news for the markets that we've now had our first rate cut. And obviously the possibility for more in the future um, is certainly possible as well. So I think the market's going to like that. Uh, I would imagine, at least for the rest of the week, we'll stay above previous week's high. We might dip down um, into that fair value gap a little bit. I mean, it's a 5-minute fair value gap, so we could certainly uh, pull back down into that. And once it's closed, we'll make sure that it's correct, but that looks like it's going to be our fair value gap for now. Um, and if it closes a little lower, then we'll just adjust the gap. And we're going to look and watch. Yeah, once this candle closes, if we close and stay above that uh, weekly pivot point there, uh, then I think we'll be good for another long to push up. We may consolidate up here a little bit, so I'm gonna have to watch if we do get into another trade on Apex. I definitely want to watch it closely in case I need to close it. We certainly could come up here to this daily at 46,839. That would give us another 200 point move on the day. Um, so definitely, okay, we're closing a little bit lower on this. So we're gonna keep that right there. And now I'd love to see us dip into it just a little bit and then push off and break the high of day again. Uh, Do we need to pull all the way back to the 9? I don't think so. The previous 4-hour high is here. The weekly high is here. We could definitely come down and retest the previous week's high. Okay, I like that. I'd love to see that retest. Be able to come right off of that previous week's high and then get us into another trade on Apex. I will not be trading Trade-of-8 or Trade-of-5 anymore. I mean, $450 profit on the day is perfectly fine on the $50,000 account. We don't need to make any more there. Do you want to see us get back above that weekly pivot point there and stay above it? And that would give us, I do believe, another entry on Apex. Yeah, we didn't get any signals on that until we were up here on the 30-second chart, which really did, kind of expected. We were already in the uptrend, so we didn't have our pullback until here. Then we broke the high, gave us our bullish shift. We've had our pullback again, so I would like to see us get up. Looks like we're going to come back down on this one. There's previous week's high. This is where I'd really like to see us bounce off of and head back up. We've got our bearish shift signal, so we're leaving longs on. I do expect the market to go a little higher today. But even coming down to the previous 4-hour high to the midline of that fair value gap is okay with me, as long as I don't get a long signal before then. I'm just gonna have to, keep watching that. We have a daily pivot point and the previous 4-hour high and the midline of that fair value gap all in one spot. So this is a good place for us to bounce off of and head back higher for the day. Get back above previous week's high. And we are right off of that pivot point. We'll have to see if we're gonna break back through that or not. This is the one thing I love about the Autobot is, I can just leave logs on, and whatever pullback we have is perfectly fine. It's not going to get me into a trade until we then start moving up again. But again, I have to be really careful. If I see a bullish shift at an area, like if I were to see a bullish shift now, be a little bit concerned because we are coming all the way back down to, looks like, rebalance this fair value gap, which is a little surprising to me. But we're also coming all the way back down to the 5-minute 9, correct? So we started to separate on this big push up, which was a large push up. So having that pullback is not a problem. I just don't want to be getting into longs until the pullback's complete, right? So there's the 9. Looks like we are not going to create a fair value gap here. That's a rebalance is fine, but to invert that gap would kind of surprise me on the day. And that's exactly what's going on. Now there's the previous 4 hour mid, and we're back to the 21. That's actually a bit surprising to me. Um, yeah, that candle closed as a rebalance. I do not want to see this candle close to actually invert that gap. To have it as balanced price range, I'm perfectly fine with. Um, but to actually invert it would be something completely different. So we're coming off of the 21 here and back above the 9. But now we have these levels above us, so we're gonna have to see what happens here. I wouldn't be surprised for the candle to go all the way back up in the next few minutes and just make a big 15-minute candle, right? Um, as right now, okay, so the 15-minute candle actually pushed all the way up and pulled all the way back and closed back in the range. Coming halfway back into the range is perfectly fine, which is about where we were. And now I'd want to see that push back up to at least half of that wick. But honestly, I would be expecting more than that, just simply to get back up above previous week's high on the news the of the interest rate drop. So I think we're just settling out some orders that were missed all in that big push up. Um, Come back down, settle them up, and now we can just see price start moving back up at this point. Gonna be a, you know a little careful here on any bullish move that we get here. Uh, Definitely expect us to see us break through these levels again, but we're not going to get a signal until the 30-second 9 gets back above the 30-second 21. So I'm okay with it kind of consolidating here a little bit and letting the 21 come down, but staying around the 9 uh, so that when we do turn around, we're not way up here before this turns around on us. So we're going to throw the 5 minute candle back on here. The last 2 minutes, I really do need to see it close above this candle body right here so that we're not inverting that gap. Um, if we do invert it, I would still expect to see a false inversion and still go up. I do like, the bounce off of the 5 minute 21 here. And it looks like we are going to close above that candle body. So we're not going to actually invert this gap. Uh, and that's at least not yet. So that's a pretty good sign. Now our 9 is starting to turn back up. We'd like to see our 21 drop a little bit more, so I wouldn't mind seeing a couple more candles just kind of stick around in this area before we break back through the 4 hour high and head back up towards the previous week's high to give us, you know, an entry somewhere above this pivot point here at 478. And we are in the afternoon, so I mean, this literally could just be a nice big 5 minute uh, or 15-minute range for the rest of the day, right? Now that did get quite a ways away from the 5-minute 200. It's completely possible that we come down and we actually come back to the 5-minute 200 before bouncing back up, which would rebalance these gaps below here. Is it something I truly would expect? No. I mean, we did swipe this double bottom and we came into this fair value gap here. Uh, let's take a quick look at the 1 hour. And did we swipe a low? Yes, we did. We swiped this double bottoms right here and then moved up. So we have a dealing range here that we can put up to see where we are in the dealing range. Okay, so there's our dealing range, and we're going to turn this over there. Okay, there's our push back up. Perfect timing for us because now we're about to cross the 9 and the 21 above this pivot point, and that right there should give us a bullish shift and get us into a trade down here to run back up uh, to the high of this candle, right? We're almost halfway through the candle, so I would expect this candle to close pretty close to the high of it. With the news that we have, we are at the midline of that fair value gap again, and we do have the bullish or the bearish 5-minute fair value gap to deal with. Um, but I think we should handle that um, fairly easily. Okay, so the midline of that fair value gap is right at the previous week's high, and we did get our bullish shift here, and it does look like we're staying above that pivot point now. We're back above it, and we held it. We didn't close below it on these two candles that pulled back, so I'm okay with that. I do want to see it close above the midline of that for both bearish fair value gap. All right, we're in the trade. Okay. Um, so I'd like to get our quick 10 points here. We do have, looks like we might make a 30-second fair value gap there. Would be nice. All right, our trailing stop is triggered at 4 ticks. We have 20 seconds left in the candle, so I would like to see it push up towards the top of that candle and close strong. Oh. We're so close. I think we got to 7 ticks. It means we need to get to 10 before getting stopped out. We do have the 30-second fair value gap, and our stop loss is pretty close to the bottom of it. Problem is our 9 is down here. Um, so that's kind of a little far down from our stop loss. Okay, there's our stop loss. We're going to go break even. We're not going to go break even. Why not? I have got to look at this again, because this should have gone to break even and uh, kept us down there. So, and I can't move it. So break even, I can't move it to break even. I'm gonna have to look at my settings because that should be moved to break even. The 9's now above our stop, so that gives us a little bit of help. But our stop is, yeah, there's our stop. So we didn't make much on, well, yeah, we did. We had 190, um, 290, to 370, so about $180 on that trade. So we're up 369. I'm going to turn the longs off now, um, because we could just range up here for the rest of the day, and I just wanted to catch that trade back up towards the high of that 1 hour candle. Um, and right now, that bearish fair value gap is giving us a little bit of a hassle. In the previous week's high is still giving us a little bit of a hassle, even though I do expect us to close above that today and end the day above that with the news that we had. But um, we're perfectly good now. We made $456 on our Tradify account, and we made 300 and almost $370 on the Apex account. So I'm perfectly happy with that and to be done with for the day, uh, and just call it a day because it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't trade past 3 p.m. And there's no reason for us to push our luck any further today. We've had 2 out of 2 trades on Apex for wins. Um, we are back in profit on Tradify, so it's time just to leave that be, uh, and call it a day. So it's good to be here in the afternoon for the numbers and trading with everybody. So we will be back on tomorrow, where we should get some pretty decent movement for the day after the numbers, and we'll see what we can do tomorrow morning during the open. Everybody that knows me knows I don't like trading in the afternoons, but on Fed rate days, the numbers don't come out until 2 p.m., so you really have no choice but to trade in the afternoon. All right. Got a little video editing to do on this because we sat around for an hour before the numbers came out, and uh, within 40 minutes, uh, we made our trade. So we're going to edit this down a little bit to show everybody uh, the good parts and get rid of all the dead at time. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a blessed day.